Hello, friends. How you doing? Good to see you again. This is the fourth installment in my several-part series of 10 years of Captain Incredulous on Minecraft. I'm joined here today by two mushroom cows who are living on my mushroom island that I lived on during the season 4 of the Playhouse survival multiplayer server. Everything you're going to see here today, you have already seen or will see again, including the Jelly Roger. Whoa. And the Hatter's Lighthouse. I didn't finish the Jelly Roger. The season ended before I got to it. I got all the resources to do it, just ran out of time, and then could have pulled it off, but just didn't feel like it, being that the season was going to end about the time I finished it. So I just cut my losses and said, there, I'm done. But I lived on a small mushroom island. I covered it in grass because, like most people, I also like the way grass looks on mushroom islands. This was my little area. I'm actually glad that I got to build this twice because it made me really good at it after having built it once, to where when I built it the second time, it just went off really without a hitch. And I really enjoyed it both times. This is the only Hatteras build I've done where I have a circular light instead of a blinking one. I rather like it, and I'm going to build it one more time at least, and I think I will keep the circular light. But let's take a quick look around. I lived in the lighthouse to start with while I was building the boat. This is a replica of the welcome center at the Hatter's Lighthouse. It used to be a weather station. It's a rectangle building with a circle thing on top. I made it an L-shaped building with a circle thing on top just because I thought it would be more interesting. On the next world we go to, you'll see this again. It's the welcome center for that world. And it's also next to the Hatter's Lighthouse on the next world. People could sign the guest book when they came. I had a great view of the old well, but I was pranked with this sea person statue by a couple moderators. I added the dragon mouth to make it look like he was making faces at you and talking. This here is a replica of the old well from the University of North Carolina, which I attended. Sort of one of the symbols that they have, and I thought it looked really nice out there through my window. It's also the entrance to something that we'll show in a few minutes. But you know, I got pranked. You got to be a good sport about it, even if it ruins the view, like I'm doing right now. Yeah. On the Playhouse SMP server, we had the hermit heads that you could buy from wandering traders. So I didn't get all the ones I wanted, but I sort of made a hall of hermits down here, with each one having, you know, when I could, something that made sense. Like, I mean, Cub, he's all around talented. I ended up giving him redstone along with impulse for the same reason. I mean, impulse, he came up with the item sorter we all use like decades later, or a decade later. Mumbo, he's got redstone. Scar, he's got a terraforming thing. Bushes with Corrales, a map with beef. And of course, B-Dubs has andesite. You know, I could have given him moss, but he was building an andesite thing at the time. And then, well, I don't really have to explain why I gave green TNT. So let's go on up. So let's go on up. You take the bubble elevator and try to get out before it shot you all the way up. This was my storage area for things not related to the ship. The various boxes were color-coded where I could, where it made sense. Work areas, I had a composter, my bed, First diamond, first poisonous potato. That's how many of those I made, nether bricks for the ship. Potion area. Other odds and ends and that sort of thing. And we had, you know, this up here. This was how I got to the nether. And then this is how you got to the top of the lighthouse. With some spectacular views of the Jelly Roger and the surrounding coral ocean and these things down here. Then you could go up one more flight, or more ladder, as it were, and just look around up here too, with a slightly better view because you're slightly higher. Yeah, here's a great view of me. There's no real reason to go look at the ship. You're already quite familiar with it. I have extensively covered it in my other series, and this ship is the exact same ship, just incomplete. So we won't go over there. So maybe the next thing we can look at is what is under the island, now that we've seen what's beside it and on top of it. Shall we? Yes. So down here we had a little cove, and you could sail into it. I gave up very quickly trying to keep cows out of this boat. They wouldn't stay out of it. They liked the boat. Little back entrance, chickens, another powered dragon head. The boat was supposed to be for ambiance. I pulled it off on season 5, but I just couldn't get it to work because of the cows on season 4. Then had a little nether wart thing going here. This sign's to keep the water from going all over the place. Hi. You would just press this button here, and water would come out of the dispenser, and you know how this stuff works. You push it again, and the button goes away, or water goes away rather. And down here, I had a tree farm, which I wouldn't normally show you, but I think it looks kind of cool. I put it down here because I liked the way the island looked as it was, and I didn't want to have a bunch of trees up there. And I ran into this underwater cave system, but this part of the cave was not filled with water. So I put all the trees here and just made the cave a little bigger, and then this just kind of happened naturally, and I just added the glass. I had to get rid of a little bit of the water, but this was sort of a dry, natural cave leading into a water-filled natural cave. And you can even get to the ship this way as well. Added some coral just for, I thought it looked cool, light it up a little bit. Maybe should have added some magma blocks as well. But if you swam up over this way, you could also get over to the ship. Right up through here, as you can see. So that was a nice feature that just kind of occurred naturally, and I think the tree farm even looks cool from the outside. And just got every kind of tree here. And this is where I used to have a bunch of shulker boxes in this wall. That's where I made all my fences and other blocks for the ship. And then all my nether wart I grew back in here. And my potatoes, I grew them as well. And carrots for a while. I had a Fortune 3 hoe, and I just would farm all these by hand and then plant them all by hand. For the same purpose that I had a farm for these above the gold farm in the Unbelievable Minecrafting server. It was for the red nether brick, which I cooked in these furnaces while I was regrowing and just kind of standing waiting for it to regrow. It worked out well, but I think we did better the second time. But I thought this was cool. I added some moss and, you know, azaleas and glowberries and stalactites. And then down here was my mine. I initially put it a few blocks too low and ended up the same level as the lava lakes rather than just above them, which is where you want to be. So I just walled them off with iron bars, thought it looked cool. Not much else to see down here. Once I realized my error in Y coordinates, I raised up my mine up here and began to mine normally. This one right here is how I ended up finding what led to me building the old well. So the old well is the entrance to an organization that I founded called the Church of Incredulity. We have 3 brown mushrooms, which I always believe were really rare, but I think that's actually a reference to the spawn mechanics, not how rare they actually happen. We have the trouble with tribbles. How now, brown cow. And weird, it happened twice, a reference to how many of these we have, being that we should have none because statistically they spawn so rarely. However, they get struck by lightning all the time, the mushroom cows, and that also creates brown mushroom cows. So these aren't the rare variant that spawn naturally. They're the very common variant that is converted by lightning. But being that they're supposed to be rare, I thought, well, that's a good symbol for incredulity. We'll dangle them by the entrance to the church. You would enter the church by placing 1 diamond in the shulker box here. This sign has words you can read if you want, I guess. But the diamonds would be funneled from the shulker to the hopper to this chest. Once you paid, you could drop into the church, quite literally. You'd be caught by another thing of water that slowed you down and landed you safely, at which point you were to pay for your safe landing 1 diamond. Now, of course, no one will believe you're an incredulous if you don't sign up, so you would read the book to sign up. If you believe you'd like to become a member, please put your name in this book. Roster begins on page 3. To join, you must first pay 1 diamond. In addition to the membership fee, please consider a small donation. Suggested amount, 5 diamonds. Thank you for your incredulous generosity. Roster begins next page. Please donate 1 more diamond to turn to page 3. And here are people who join. Returning to page 1 is required. Suggested donation to return to page 1 is 2 diamonds. Then if we take a look here, I have to break this, but people actually did pay occasionally, as you can see. And of course, you could also place tithes, offering, and fees into the shulker below. To exit, you also needed to pay 1 diamond. Here is a CI and exclamation point. That's for me. I couldn't fit the exclamation point and question mark down here. It was too narrow. By the way, an exclamation point and question mark together are called an interrobang. But up here was the ATM for you to be able to pay everything. Here is the pulpit. I had an amethyst staircase to get up there. The book, it says something. It says, Welcome to the Church of Incredulity. Don't believe everything that you read is the most obvious thing one could put in this book, so that's what I did. Maybe later I'll come up with something clever. Maybe not. We'll see if I have time. You know how it is. Busy, busy, busy. And that is from the Book of Incredulity. Now behind me, you'll see an amethyst on the floor, and that's what started this church. You see, I had a full inventory, and I had mined all of the amethysts from this geode, except for a single one. But I also noticed on my hotbar, I had a single piece of cooked steak. And I knew if I ate that steak, I could then have the amethyst in my inventory. So I did that. But instead of the amethyst going into my inventory, it attached itself to that block that you see it on now. This, of course, is impossible. So I felt quite incredulous. And I decided to start a church based on that. Of course, what really happened, what I realized much later, was it was a graphic sort of anomaly in which the amethyst did go into my hotbar, but before I released the trigger where I was eating the steak, that same trigger ended up placing the amethyst. But still, it was fun. And here we have a sign full of interrobangs, another sign of interrobangs, and, you know, your standard cult. People gave me money, and I was pleased about it. And then to exit, we just go this way. And it does have a nice view of the coral ocean when you get to the top area. So I guess the last thing to see would be my area of the nether. This portal would take you to the Church of Incredulity, obviously. That's why it had amethysts on it. Here is my horse, Captain Seos. Here's Calvin the cow. I had a pretty bad run-in with some piglins, so I put this sign here to make sure everyone knew that if I saw any piglins, I would shoot them, barbecue them, and eat them maliciously. This is the portal that took you to the lighthouse. That's why I have the mushroom block on it, because it was on the mushroom island. And then this is the portal that would take you to the ship. You know, they're all thematic. And this was the way back to the spawn area that the community built, just a rail system up here for us all to get around. But I guess I will go back to the ship, and we will end things on season 4 there. So yeah, that's it for season 4 of the Playhouse server for me. The next one will be season 5. So stay tuned for that. It's coming like literally as soon as this clip ends, which is now, because I'm out of room to run. And here we are on season 5 of the Playhouse server in the starting community area. Behind me in that red building is the HOA. Not everyone was a fan, myself included. The HOA got pranked with a warden, which you can see over my shoulder. They lured it to the top with a note block. As many people know, wardens are attracted to sound, and with the repeated noise from the note block, it just safely stays up there. Very, very loudly, though. I did not do much at spawn. I wonder how many people noticed that and how long it was there. But anyway, the one thing I did do at the, well, not spawn, but the community area was my starter house, which was deliberately out of compliance with the HOA. First off, the trees were required to be between 12 and 5 blocks tall. This one was also much taller. I guess it was in the way of this, so someone just decided to burn it or something. You were required to have a mailbox. I complied with that just so they could find me, and so I could ignore those fines. Never did receive any, though. Cobwebs, fire. Holes you can fall in and are difficult to get out of. Water leaking through the roof, holes all through the roof. We weren't allowed to have basements, so once I found that, I immediately built one. This closet used to have a cheeky sign in it. I don't remember what the sign said, but it was totally cheeky. Broken ladder on the side. All in all, a deliberately bad build. Because I didn't care for the HOA. I was going to prank them with chickens, but someone beat me to it with that warden. And I'm fine with that. Here's the nether portal. I didn't use the nether a lot. I traveled by boat. It took me 15 to 20 minutes each way. I finally did build a way to get back here through the nether, but pretty much never used it because at that point I just left the server. Just wasn't feeling it. So I was only here for 5 or 6 weeks. Let's see. So one would come out here, and for the longest time there was an Enderman who was holding that block right there, and I guess he finally set it down. This is the boat that I traveled on. I would just come into this little cave, and I would just kind of go through the rivers and the oceans, and it, like I said, it took me 15 or 20 minutes to get back to the community area just one way, and I had to dig out stuff like this at a couple places, and but you can see up there, that's my build. You've seen it before. I don't know if anyone on the server actually ever saw it or visited it or not. I kind of kept what I was doing under wraps, thinking it would be, you know, better value, first impression, better value if people didn't know what to expect. So that's why I made such a nondescript entrance here with this tunnel. Then you go up this ladder. And then through this other tunnel. Over a bridge. Another tunnel. Then you come out in this grassy cave with bamboo half slabs, and you might see chests down here. This is what I was going to prank the HOA with, but never got around to. I was just going to get a few shulker boxes and take all those eggs and just have it overrun with chickens. But anyway, you might, as you come through, see that there's stairs leading down here, and your eye would be drawn there. You'd come up here. You'd see my little sleeping area, my small storage, my dog, my first poisonous potato and first diamond. You see, oh, here's my mine. This was my AFK spot. Down here I had a donkey. There wasn't anything else down here. It was just a natural cave that I lit up and just made it easier to walk around in. I just thought it looked cool. I did harvest sugarcane a bit down here, as I recall. Yeah. Then I have these ender chests in the ground because above the ground they give off particle effects. They're under these blocks, these moss carpet blocks. I went for the trifecta with particles with the cherry blossoms, the ender chests, and then I have spore blossoms randomly hidden throughout. You can see one of the particles right there, maybe. But yeah, you'd come out and it's entirely lit up with lanterns, the tiny bit of light from the inner chests, and glow lichen, except for these torches over this way. But it's a statue of Nocturna, a Daedric entity from the game Skyrim. I've shown this before in a showcase video. She's typically depicted with 3 ravens or 3 crows. In this case, she only has 2. I'll put a link in the description of the person who designed this. I got it from Planet Minecraft and basically made a schematic with Lightmatica and built it that way. Built it all by hand with diamond and stone tools. No enchantments except mending, I think, and efficiency and unbreaking. And no elytra. This was built entirely with scaffolding. And being that she is the Daedric entity associated with thievery, luck, mischief, gambling, the night, mystery, and things of that nature, I was hoping that there'd be an ancient city underneath this mountain, because that's where ancient cities usually are, is under mountains. And I got exactly what I wanted. I wanted a circular mountain range where I could plant cherry trees if they didn't grow there naturally, and an ancient city under it. And there was one. The city and the mine are accessed through this foot, and the statue is hollow and is accessed through this foot. And I died so many times lighting it up in here because I didn't think to do it until after it was closed off. So me trying to prevent myself from dying in here is ultimately what led to me dying here quite a bit. Well, there's a zombie villager. Oh, I trapped him there. That's right. I was going to do something with him and never did. I had originally intended to live in the head, but once I finished the exterior of the statue, I wasn't feeling that season of the server, and I decided to go back to Unbelievable Minecrafting and play just there instead of playing in both places like I had intended to do. So I didn't actually even furnish it or so much as put a bed in here. And then the ancient city is under my mine. You have to keep going down. This also, one of these tunnels, don't remember exactly which one, but one of them led to a lush cave. And also you can see the skulk rising up from the ancient city right there. But I would just put on a podcast and go through here and mine stone and it's like a zombie spawner. Yeah, it took me 6 weeks to build this thing, I think. I built this bridge. I think it's on the other side of here that is a lush cave. That's where I got all the spore blossoms. Here it is. Pretty big lush cave. Not the biggest I've seen, but big enough. I had all the spore blossoms I wanted. And then there was a way to exit it as well. I don't remember exactly where the exit is, and I'm not going to go looking for it. But there's also a pillager tower right behind it. but we won't bother with that. But here you can see now it's daytime, the cherry blossoms, particles, the ender chest particles, and they're right there, the green, that's the spore blossom particles. We'll take one more look around. I don't feel the need to showcase it heavily because I already have a video just on the statue. But not including these two worlds would make my 10-year anniversary series incomplete. So yeah, there is my statue of Nocturna, and that pretty much concludes the Playhouse worlds that I've been on. I might go back there someday. Season 6 is running strong right now from what I can tell in the Discord. I just haven't had time to get over there. Too much going on in the real world for me to barely even get on my own server or make these videos. But once this series is complete, I will return to the Unbelievable Minecrafting server, and we will continue to build there, and it'll be fun. So I appreciate you watching, and you've been wonderful, and I have been Captain Incredulous. Catch you later.